everybody, and welcome back to the Thursday night mod fight. We've now got another match just about ready to go for you. On our left, we have Pieboy, one of the mods, who's going to be playing Sharkstill, and we have Nerdles, who's going to be bringing out Manaless Dredge tonight.
Yep. So Nerdles, some dredgy combo strategy. Pieboy is some sort of blue take forever deck. So we'll see which force prevails here.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Manaless Dredge is it does have an insta-win combo that it can get very quickly. But obviously, blue-white with a little bit of splash of red control doesn't do anything very quickly. So I think you've got to feel that Manaless Dredge is favoured here. But, you know, Pieboy will have lock pieces post-board. Standstill isn't massively effective against Dredge because it rarely casts spells.
Absolutely, yeah. Dread Return, Cabal Therapy, the only spells that I think it ever actually casts.
Yeah. Even Creeping Chill is just, it's a disc, you know, when it goes from the library to the graveyard effect.
Just happens, yeah. So Pieboy choosing to be on the play here, I guess he doesn't know Nerdles.
Well, Manaless Dredge always has to be on the draw, and so will always choose to be on the draw.
Yeah, but as a table spotter pointing out that Pieboy won the die roll and chose to go first.
But you would on control.
Oh, sure.
These days, historically, there were reasons not to, but Manaless Dredge is so rare that you don't choose to draw unless you know you're playing against it.
Yeah. So I like to choose to draw because your opponent can't do anything turn one anyway, if they have 7. Pieboy resolving.
Well, they also have to keep 7, which is a weakness of Manaless Dredge. They can't mulligan.
Pieboy just set it to firing up his turn 1 Brainstorm.
And we are discarding.
See, green black Dredger, I think, right? Shambling Shell.
Yeah, that's the one. That's one of the dredges that you don't see in regular Dredge. So that's not the best start because it's only Dredge 3.
Yeah, but I think Manaless Dredge has to take what they can get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you have an opening hand with no Dredge, you're still discarding.
Yeah, they definitely have some powerful starts with Phantasmagoria and being able to discard their entire hand. But
yep.
We'll see. So I can't quite tell what he's dredging there. I'm going to be leaning on
our
table spotter. One of those cards, I believe, is Nether Shadow.
I believe the top one is Golgari Grave Troll.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's Nether Shadow under that. I'm not sure what the other... the third card, that's been Narcomoeba.
Narcomoeba's just gone straight into play. And he
discards
a Stinkweed
I don't think that's... Maybe we'll check.
Golgari Thug, I think, perhaps.
Oh, that's true. Some of these have goofy arts now, and there's only typically only one art I know here.
Oh, it's actually a Phantasmagorian, as you.
Oh, thank you. So interesting that was in his opening hand, and he chose not to discard that to hand size.
Maybe he drew it. No. He drew. Yeah, no, it has to have been. At the point he discarded, he had all 8 cards that he had seen because this next time we saw him dredge. So yeah, it must have been in his hand.
Doc in chat, what is this match? OP. Control versus Manaless Dredge, Sharkstill versus combo. You know, the classic legacy matchup, right? I'm actually a little bit curious. Manaless Dredge is commonly one of those decks that's recommended to players for budgetary reasons. And I know we have a wide variety of players on our server. I don't think I've ever seen it on our server before.
Yeah, I think you may be misremembering Phantasmagorian. Phantasmagorian has the activated ability of discard 3 cards, return it from your graveyard to your hand. So it has to get to the graveyard before you can use it to discard any cards.
Yeah, but turn 1 he pitched the Shambling Shell instead of the Phantasmagorian, and he could have gotten 3 or even 6 cards in his graveyard.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But
if he only had the 3 mana, the Dredge 3 card, then there may have been no point in getting anything else into the graveyard.
That's fair. Nerdle's getting back 2 copies of Nether Shadow here during his upkeep. So Nether Shadow, one of those goofy old templated cards that cares about the order of your graveyard, but more importantly, is a 1/1 with haste.
And does it stay?
Yep. Icarid goes away in a turn, but another setter
Yes.
stays. So this is what? Does he play another shadow or another spirit as well? What is the card to the left of the nether spirits? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, it kind of just looks like a black card to me.
It might be Icarid. Oh, it is Icarid. He exiled Shambling Shell.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he's found a prize amalgam in this dredge, which means it'll come in the end step.
Yep.
Prize amalgam is fairly slow to get going, but it does get going.
Yep. Also, Table Sweater pointing out Creeping Chill hit as well, so there's just another 3 damage.
Oh,
so
there was 3 drain. Worthwhile.
So Piper going to take 6 this turn unless he has some interaction in his hand, going down to 10 against what might be lethal next turn if Icarid comes back again.
Yeah.
That might actually be Xaxes unless Pieboy has interaction. 5, 6, 7, yeah. We'll see what happens.
And I can't see why he wouldn't be able to get back the Icarid next turn. There's enough black things there.
Absolutely.
And he'll have the prize amalgam as well, which I think is a 2/3.
I think it's a 3/3.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty.
Oh,
it's 3/3. Well remembered.
So Pieboy does have a Swords of Plowshares here, so
yeah,
possibly taking care of Icarid.
Exile the Icarid. Yeah, that's certainly going to help.
Yep, stops the most damage this turn in on following turns.
Doesn't slow things down massively much though. Turns a 2-turn clock into a 3-turn clock, I think.
Well, sometimes in control, that's all you need, right?
Yeah, so I don't think he has any board wipes main. I think they're in the board.
Oh, that's unfortunate for him. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really see any good way for him to get around just 5 bodies on the field.
No. And there's only one Supreme Verdict in the board as well. I've seen different numbers in Sharkstill. That's a Prismatic Vista landing there, I think.
Yep, so 4 mana.
Brainstorm. Yeah, he's only actually playing 1 Vault. There's very few red spells in this deck. In fact, I'm not sure there's any main. I think they're all in the board.
That makes sense. I know that was a common thing that Miracles decks used to do back in the day when they were splashing red.
Yeah, he's got a mountain in the board, but I think having a Volk in the main doesn't lose you very much.
Yeah, it taps for the most important color in blue, or in Magic, so.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not sure what he's digging for here, but he's going to dig for it.
Counter spells aren't going to help. Council's Judgment would exile something, and he does have one of those in the main. Sharkstill would provide a flying blocker.
Yeah.
He actually is running 1 Palace Jailer in the main, which I think is quite interesting for a control deck. Teferi would bounce something to the hand. So he's got a few things he could dig for and do something vaguely useful, but no, he's passing the turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if you remove 1 creature a turn, Nurdles is still going to start to accumulate.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be finding 2 things and getting them going.
So, Icarid coming back here. He must have had a different Icarid, I guess.
Yeah, there was another Icarid in the graveyard.
Okay.
And what's he going to dredge?
Is that a new art bridge from below as well in the graveyard?
It might well be.
Oh, no, Table Spotter pointing out mismatching bridges. So I guess there must be 2 bridges in the graveyard. One old, one new.
Yeah, don't do that to us. I actually just ordered 2 original bridges yesterday. That was all the shop had in stock. Oh,
Yep,
we have a Hogok coming in. That rather changes matters. Okay, that instantly goes away. So it's the one thing that this deck casts pretty much other than the Dread Return is Hogok.
Yeah, I mean, you get. He must have not hit any Cabal therapies yet, because I know that's another card that they actually do get to cast off the flashback, but yeah, not a lot of targets for those counter spells in Pieboy's deck.
And obviously, you want to cast your Cabal therapies at the right time because you want to cast them when you've got 2 bridges in the graveyard, for example.
Yeah.
Turn one of your Narcomoebas into 2 2/2s.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we not gonna have.
So it looks Pieboy is cast.
End step, Cycling Shark Typhoon.
Gotcha.
It,
So is that a 3/3?
it's an
1/1?
XX. So let's find out what it is. Yeah, it's a what? It's 1 because it's X1 blue, I believe, to cycle.
That's right. I don't know why. I haven't had the displeasure of playing against that card yet. For some reason, I thought it was like a Stonecoil Serpent or something, and just X, which would be insane now that I think about it. I say it out loud. Oh, baby shark.
I mean, Standstill was a deck before Shark Typhoon in Legacy, but not a mainstream deck. Probably not quite a tier 1 deck. Although to some extent, I think that was lack of people playing it rather than the lack of power potentially. But Shark Typhoon's just really nailed it into the tier 1 decks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It seems like the last year has given control decks a lot of different tools to morph from miracles into the Just Guide Mentor deck that was around for a while, then the Mystic Sanctuary decks, and now this.
There's an awful lot of new tools.
So there's that power scaler.
I think Legacy has got a lot of new tools because Modern Horizons gave it a lot of tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and 2019, 2020 so far have been the year of Veil of Summer and all sorts of new cards in Legacy, which we're not always used to.
There's very few decks in Legacy that are not playing a card that is legal in Standard. I mean, non-basic land. I mean, basic lands are obviously legal in Standard, but
sure.
I mean, other than the basic lands.
Yeah. Yeah, the only proxies I have in my current decks I put together is actually an Uro because man, $40 for a standard card.
Yeah,
no matter what we
confess, that's a card that I just dived in and bought all of. I hoped that I would get to play a couple of standard tournaments with it, but lockdown meant that I didn't. I think I managed to open one, and others I kind of hunted eBay for the cheapest prices. People who are just wanting to shift them quick, I think. People who've opened them in draft but aren't keeping them, that kind of thing. Yeah, I know that the cards aren't always the breakouts that we think they're going to be, but Uro has been high for quite a while. Yeah. I figured that Uro was going to stay high for a while, so I just needed to buy the bullet. Yeah. So speaking of new sets, is there anything you're excited for in Double Masters? Well, I mean, obviously, Double Masters, to my knowledge, unless I've misunderstood things, is not got any new cards. But right, it's a reprint set. It is a reprint set. So the one thing I'm a little bit sad about, having seen what's in there, is that I'm very unlikely to get to draft this. I think that's a consequence of the current times. But yeah, there's been some beautiful cards, and the alternate arts are just gorgeous. Mox Opal. I mean, I adore the Masterpiece Mox Opal. I will not be switching those for the extended art Mox Opals in Double Masters, but they are pretty sweet. Yeah, some of those arts are kind of hit or miss to me. I feel like the style is different across all the different cards, and it sort of like takes me out of it a little bit. There's nothing unifying. I mean, there's nothing that unites the reprint of Karn with the reprint of Mox Opal. Whereas the Mox Opal, in and of itself, is a nice link to previous Moxes and previous Mox Opals. Yeah, I know that speaking of Karn, the Karn and the Urzatron lands are kind of divisive. Where do you come down on those alt arts? I'm sorry, but the Urzatron lands, they improve a little bit by gaining a black border and some slightly different art, but they will never be the original Urzatron lands. I'm sorry. There's I literally I cry if I play against Tron with non-original Urza lands.
Yeah, they're going to be out there. I think the art is very beautiful, but I think that it doesn't belong in the set. I don't think it doesn't evoke.
I was really quite surprised to see those as reprints. I don't think they're a card that needs a reprint. I don't think they're a card that creates a good limited environment. So just don't see the logic really of reprinting them.
Yeah, I know they're popular in Modern, and they'll sell well just because of the alt arts.
Yeah, but you can get original whiteboarded Tron lands for $1.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean the kind of people that are going to spend $50 on a Tron land are going to be excited to get to do this, I think.
I don't know who's the kind of person that will spend $50 on a Tron land.
No Legacy player, but the foils.
Genuinely, I play Tron in Modern myself, and I've seen a lot of Tron in Modern because it's a pretty common deck. I've probably seen non-original Tron lands once. And
yeah, I know that the foil
Tron lands are so favored that nobody wants to foil them.
Interesting. I guess there's a mixture of people here as well, but I've definitely seen people play some of the inventions and everything. I'm not sure about the Ithidien foils. Just they are 50, 75.
I play inventions in my Tron deck, but you're not going to get me off original Tron lands.
That's fair. Jack Dex in chat pointing out, I like foils. So I guess the Nerdles took game 1, and Pieboy is sideboarding for game 2. Anything that stands out in their sideboards to you that you really like?
Well, engineered explosives is very key. If you can get engineered explosives and blow a bunch of tokens, that's very useful. Supreme Verdict, very key. None of these things exile, they only slow things down.
Yeah.
I'd like to find a way to speed up the deck, but I'm not sure there is a way to speed up the deck. I imagine he's bringing in Monastery Mentors, and I'm hoping that these tokens and whatnot can match up.
Yeah, notably, not a lot of graveyard hate except for the surgical extractions, but I think that the Pyroclasm, Supreme Verdict, I think are also no-brainers if he can find stuff to bring in.
Not spotted the Pyroclasm, of course, that's another board wipe. 2 surgical extractions feels low on graveyard hate, although I'm less familiar about the approximate number of graveyard hate cards that a control deck needs to run, because most of the time you're relying on your counter spells.
Yeah, I'm surprised to not see Rest in Peace. I know that's just such a staple of the blue-white control decks for the sideboard.
Exactly, I agree. I would expect to see a combo of Rest in Peace and surgical extraction, I think, probably here. And then in Sharkstill, it's going to be an obvious bring in for Force of Vigor, which is a card that's not in Sharkstill. From Manaless Dredge, we're going to see those 4 Force of Vigor in.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he'll bring in the Fairy Macabre, because if you get a Sharkstill and a Hall of Helios Generosity with enough mana, it's painful.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't seen the deck enough to have to know that that interaction, or have had to suffer under that interaction.
I agree. I think that's entirely possible that we didn't see Hall of Helios Generosity. We don't know that can be looped. We don't know how much is going to be slowed down. I do not expect him to be boarding those in. I also don't think he needs to be boarding in Ashen Rider at this point.
No, I mean he may suspect that that there's Snapcaster Mages in the deck, but I don't think that justifies Fairy Macabre either. Oddly, none of
I don't know. Snapcaster, target swords, Fairy Macabre, target swords. I mean, that seems a reasonable play if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know the Manaless Dredge deck well enough to know how many pieces it can safely take out if it's already boarding in Force of Vigor.
That's very fair. Very fair.
Although oddly, that Force of Vigor is probably such a universal, such a flexible anti-hate card, but I don't think it doesn't hit any of Pieboy's hate in this particular build.
I know, but I assume it's coming in. Because I don't think you're going to sit across the table from any Legacy deck and think that they have no non-permanent graveyard hate.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Nerdles probably just assumes there's 2 Rest in Peace somewhere in that 75. But...
yeah.
Players going into game 2. We assume Pieboy will be. Pieboy correctly choosing the draw here, so he'll just get a free card.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Good choice. And I'm just looking at what you can board out in Manaless Dredge. I think you can board out Creeping Chill. Absolutely, I think it's there to be boarded out almost.
Yeah, I know that it's a way to close out games against control decks. It doesn't require you to put anything on the stack.
How do you get it back to loop it? That you can only use it as many
Yeah,
times as
you
you
don't-
have the card.
Yeah, you don't loop it, but one of the ways that I've lost against Dredge decks is playing control is I'll stabilize it, 5 life or whatever, 6 life, and 2 creeping chills off the top at some point in the next 3 turns, 4 turns.
Fair,
Just to
okay,
you.
yeah. I feel that may be somewhat of a corner case though.
That's possible.
Yeah, probably one of those things that comes from experience playing the deck rather than playing against the deck.
That's fair. It's something that I worry about, but maybe it's like Price of Progress. They just don't always have it.
Yeah. I also suspect it's the kind of deck that it can cut a Dread Return, it can cut a Bridge. I'm not sure that Cabal Therapy even is that great against control. Other than the fact that it can turn a 1/1 into multiple 2/2s.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how it works in Manaless Dredge if it's the same as regular Dredge. I know that Cabal Therapy is part of the whole engine in regular Dredge.
Yeah.
Nerdles has a lot more
Well, I
free
mean,
creatures here.
it's the same here. I mean, you can get a lot of value off it.
Yeah. But Nerdles already has a lot of free ways to put power into play, like Nether Shadow and the other one, not Prismatic Vista, the other one that comes back, Price Amalgam. There we go.
Yes.
Prismatic Vista, very different card.
And also seeing play on the other side of the table.
Nerdles just drawing a card and passing the turn because Pieboy is on the play, I guess. Did Nerdles mulligan? Oh, Nerdles did mulligan this game, that's why.
Whoa! I don't think I've seen Manaless Dredge mulligan ever. I thought that was against the rules.
I mean, I don't know. If you have no way of getting cards in your graveyard, there's the Phantasmagorian. Okay, that was in the opener, I guess, for the 6-card hand. Yeah, I'm not sure, because there are certainly hands where you can discard a hand, but you don't have any Dredger, you don't have Phantasmagorian, you don't have any way to, like, start your engine?
I guess. So, I guess in which case, is it better to find and know that you can do it in 2 turns, or to hope?
Yeah.
And it could be any number of turns.
Be curious to know that math.
Returning the Phantasmagorian to his hand in the end step.
Discarding some cards.
Blurry things.
Nether Shadow, that one stands out. That's nice. It looks like a couple Dredgers on top there too, and I think I saw an Ichrid.
It's that Stinkweed Imp as well on top.
I think the second card from the bottom is an Ichrid. I'm not sure if that was a prized amalgam in there as well, or an Ashen Rider.
I think the third card was a prized amalgam.
Okay. Oh, Pieboy did bring in the Surgicals. That makes sense.
Yeah.
See what he's targeting.
Eclipse wasn't going to leave them behind.
Oh, absolutely not. I'd be curious what he targets here.
Was that in Masters 25 edition of Street Wraith?
Yeah, there was a reprint there. I don't remember what the original printing was. Original Ravnica block, maybe? Or was it Future Sight?
Yeah, it's Future Sight, I think. I'm just trying to think. I know exactly where my Street Wraiths are. I can't reach them to have a look. Yeah, I knew that they were sort of funky framed.
Yeah, I'm having to put that together because the preview on MTG Goldfish is the Master 25, but it has the symbol in the background, so...
Yeah.
Alright. So they're going through the deck here. It looks like to get... is he cycling a Thug or something?
It's Stinkweed Imps that he's getting.
Huh. Why I guess it's just the biggest Dredger? Because that's definitely I think that's definitely a Thug on top of the graveyard, right?
Yeah.
I was searching on Stinkweed according to chat here.
Yeah.
Thank you, chat.
That's what I mean. They are Stinkweeds. I can see that. That's the one card I recognize. Maybe.
Yeah, just interesting choice there.
Is that a Golgari Thug, perhaps? No, it's not.
I think that the card on top of the Nether Shadow is a Thug, I believe.
And that's Dredge 4, so you would choose the Stinkweed Imp over the Thug if there's no Grave Troll.
Yeah, I would just. I feel like I would want to hold on to that for a Bridge from Below or a Cabal Therapy Dread Return.
Potentially,
But Pieboy is an avid Dredge player, so probably knows a lot of what's going on here.
He knows what's going to hurt the deck.
And may also have a Snapcaster in hand or something to be able to flash that back a second time, even.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Also, Stinkweed Imp is a black creature, so it's also an Icarid enabler.
Yeah, but he has a
multi-purpose. So we've got the Prized Amalgam that went there, the Nether Void.
And Icarid's coming back as well. I think that's Narcomoeba, Nether Shadow, Icarid.
I'm not sure about what the top card is, but it's definitely Nether Shadow Icarid.
So Dredge and Golgari Thug for turn. Looks like exiled Street Wraith for the Icarid. And we see a Price Amalgam on top of the graveyard there.
I don't think Pyro actually is on one. Seeing as there's no attacks until now.
No, one fetch land, one surgical extraction.
We have got a Swords here. Swords went on the Icarid.
Yeah, so 15 life now off of the attack for 2, the surgical extraction, and 1 scalding tarn, I think, after the brainstorm.
Yeah, it was the fetch, the surgical, and the take 2 damage there. And Nurdles is also on 21. I'm not quite sure what he gained life off.
It was 3 life for the Swords to Plowshares.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't think the second half of Swords to Plowshares matters a lot in this match, for sure, right?
No. I mean, if Standstill gets going, it beats down with fairly large things fairly quickly, so a few life gain here and there isn't going to matter.
Yeah. So is the main win con there actually the flying creature?
It's both Mythrealized and the Shark Typhoon. Depends on which you hit.
That's true. Mythrealized.
If you land a Mythrealized before Standstill hits, you can just plan mana into it every end step and then animate it, and it just gets bigger and bigger and hits for more and more. And a lot of people don't have main deck removal for an enchantment, so he's probably less good post board.
Yeah, actually that's a tease for the next match. I saw Mythrealized and removed it for the first time in quite a while when I was looking at the deck list for today. I'm excited to see that card come out. It's so cheap. It's 1 mana to get started, and then you just get there eventually. They've made cycles off and on of creatures, like enchantments that become creatures whenever a certain condition is met, and I always thought those were really fun too. They were never good, but I always thought they were fun.
Oh yeah, there was the whole hidden cycle, wasn't there, as well, where they switched mode. That wasn't by paying; it was by something happening, I think.
Yeah, I think there were different triggers. There was a 1 or 2 mana one that became a 1 whenever your opponent played a creature. I'm not sure what all the conditions were on them. So obviously your opponent could just not do it and never turn them on. So I never got as far with them as I thought I was going to.
Yeah. But they work still as control pieces because it stops your opponent from doing things.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, you're right. They never really saw much play other than presumably limited play at the time. Okay, so we're Dredge 6.
Yep, just some lunchroom table nonsense for sure for me.
The Nether Void. Is that a Narcomoeba?
I'm not sure. I see a Cabal Therapy for sure. The last card's Narcomoeba. I feel like I saw a new art bridge from below there, but
yes, I feel the same. Oh, there's a Force of Vigor has landed in there, and a bridge, and Balustrade Spy.
Yeah. Void Lily, Lunchroom Magic certainly a more innocent time, I think, compared to where we are now playing competitive Legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got straight into competitive Magic. I've never really done sort of the kitchen table or lunchroom Magic.
Yeah, I did both, but I think that you only get so far in Type 2 when you're, 12 years old.
Yeah.
As far as like card availability goes. So an attack for 2 here. Paiboy's life total is getting pretty low here.
Yeah, but it's not being pressured incredibly fast. He's got time to find a Snapcatcher, time to find, flashback that surgical or just find another surgical.
Yeah, definitely.
I do agree that overall it isn't looking good.
Yeah, we see. I think the prize amalgam coming back, and then the he can flashback Cabal Therapy to get at least one zombie as well.
Yes.
This turn.
I think we're in agreement. There's one bridge in the graveyard.
I've only seen one, but I guess we'll see how many zombies come. Oh man, Nerdles was counting, and I didn't see if that was the second one or not. Looks like 2 bridges.
Yeah.
And flashback Cabal Therapy.
I wonder what we'll
Just
see named here.
Hardcast Force, I think.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yep.
Guessing that the secret hidden method.
I am not sure that I see the point in that, although he's not got much to use his counter spells on.
That's fair. He maybe doesn't want to know about like Supreme Verdict, or maybe Nerdles would pick something that he knows would wreck him here. I'm not sure.
But there is only one Cabal Therapy in the graveyard, I believe, so...
Yeah, I just wonder if you're Nerdles, if you would name something that you know just completely destroys you in the blind.
And maybe probably has it. Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, we see Basic Mountain here, so I guess some amount of maybe that Pyroclasm.
He's brought in some of his red package then. Which is interesting because his red package is Pyroblast. Oh, Pyroclasm we did mention, so that would be the red part of the package that he's brought in. Because
yeah,
and also red might be useful for engineered explosives depending on the board state.
that's true. That would give you the third color for prized amalgams for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very much board state dependent.
Monastery
Now we've got
for
the
coming down.
Mentor, which we did think that he would probably go for the more creatures in the deck plan.
Yeah, that also makes a very trivial way to get rid of the bridges in Nerdle's graveyard.
Yeah, because you can, trade and let your Mentor die. Is Bridge non-token creature?
It is non-token for the controller. It is any creature for the opponent.
So he could just let a token die to it as well. Because I would hope that he's keeping up an instant here to trigger prowess and to create a monk for blockers.
Yeah. Yeah, one red card that would absolutely not come in, but I was excited to see was from the Ashes, actually. I have lost to that card in Commander a couple times.
Yeah, I've seen that in the sideboard of a few control decks recently. Never actually seen it come into play.
Yeah.
There are certainly matches where it literally destroys the opponent. So it's definitely a useful card to be in there. I'm not sure I'd dedicate 2 spaces to it.
Yep. Nettles dredging another Golgari Grave Troll here, found another Narcomoeba. There's a lot of power in play.
Yeah.
It looks like a creeping chill off the top as well.
Yep.
Which may make this lethal this turn.
Well, there's 2 prized amalgams. No, 1 prized amalgam, 2 zombies, 3 blah. Yeah.
1 sick Narcomoeba.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, what's
someone's
that
gonna flash in.
thing?
I imagine Snapcaster, but I absolutely can't tell. Is this a snap? I think it's a snap plow on prized amalgam. If their actions mean anything there. That still means Paibo will have 2 blockers.
Well, it looks like he's actually made 2 tokens there. It was natural plow. It wasn't snap
Gotcha.
plow. Apparently, he's using the second token underneath it to indicate the prowess trigger.
Gotcha. Okay, I was looking really hard for that second spell. But that still means that if Paibo can block the 2 zombies, that's only 5 damage coming across then, because now there's Shadow.
The prowess on the token hasn't triggered though, because it wasn't on the battlefield when the spell was cast.
Sure.
So he's got a 3/3 and a 1/1.
Oh, we're talking about the die. That's a deck box divider now that I look at it. I thought it was 2 sleeves stacked on top of each other, so I was looking for the second spell.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yep, quite right.
But Paiboy is going to take 6 here down to 1, even if he blocks everything, right? No, 5 down to 2 if he blocks everything.
But he does get bridges out of the graveyard.
Yeah. But it does mean Nurdles will just get a crazy number of zombies as well on the back foot there, on the backside. So, I mean, Pyroclasm off the top is just great for Paiboy, and if it's not Pyroclasm or Verdict, I think he's dead.
It looks like he's only thinking about blocking with token.
Interesting. 1, 2. Oh, he got another shadow from the other one because it's just free? That's interesting. It's also just free for the zombie token, right? Because it's a 3/3 on Monastery Mentor now?
Monastery Mentor was a 3/3 then during combat. Potentially he blocked a zombie token.
Well, we saw another shadow go to the graveyard, and Nurdles is getting some more zombie tokens. I would have just blocked 2 zombies there. They have the highest power, and it's a free block on the Mentor.
Yeah.
So Paiboy does fall to 1.
That zombie token should that monk token should have exiled the bridges. I think that's being done now.
I think they're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paiboy, I'm certain would not miss that trigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's board wiper best here. Nurdles has every creature is lethal, so.
Well, we know he's got 1 Supreme Verdict, 1 Pyroclasm, and an Engineered Explosives. So, and he does have enough to put an Engineered Explosives on 3. Actually, Engineered Explosives only takes equal to, doesn't it? Not less.
Yeah. Yeah, Pernicious Deed is less than, so.
Yeah, wrong colours for Pernicious Deed here.
Just. He's got one of them in Surgical Extraction, right?
Pyroclasm would leave the Prize Amalgam, but the Prize Amalgam and the Monk could block.
Yeah. Void Lily, yeah, also, Mask's block was definitely a letdown after Urza, for sure. Although I did love playing Rebels, I was definitely that person.
Yeah, so that was the Supreme Verdict that he needed. I don't know whether it was top decked or whether he had it.
Yeah, I would be curious if that's why he went in so hard on forcing the Cabal Therapy. I'm not sure.
Potentially, I think you might be exactly right. That he had the Supreme Verdict, and he thought Supreme Verdict was the thing that would be named.
But another Shadow and Ichard here both notably have haste, so I'm not sure what the plan is.
Yeah, it doesn't help much. I mean, if he had a Teferi, it would help. If then he could snapcast flashback the Supreme Verdict.
Turn these sideways. Paiboy very sportingly.
-5, yes.
Correction, -6. Yeah. He says there. Okay.
Let's get it right. Yeah, I did feel here that Dredge, Manaless Dredge, despite being an uncommon